Good morning, my big dog lovers. I want to introduce you to my big pack. I have Storm and I have Rain, the Cane Corso. They are overly excited today because they missed their walk yesterday and they've been got a bundle of energy just waiting to unleash on me. So hopefully this walk goes well. There may be a lot of correction. I'm holding the camera, so I it's harder for me to correct effectively. But hopefully, we have enough skills built up where we don't need both hands. So I'm going to try to individually let them out. I don't see anybody coming from the street. So again, we're working on distractions and how to handle when another dog's around. So uh, we're going to talk about that a little later. But I think we can have Rain come out first. Rain, good job, Rain. Nope, Storm, not yet, not yet. Rain, okay. Rain, we're not going. Come here, sit down. And there goes Storm. Storm, let's try this again. Come here, sit. Storm, sit. Great. Now let's do this right. Come here, Storm. Thank you. Okay. That was mildly successful, but it's okay. All right, come here, guys. Come here. So I want to do a couple things with this video today. First of all, come here, Storm. First of all, we're doing this during daylight, so hopefully it'll be a little bit better compared to my last video, which we were filming in pitch black. So today hopefully it'll be a lot better. I'd like to also kind of recap on a few things because I think people didn't watch it because it was too dark and they couldn't see anything. So a lot of the points that I was making probably weren't being listened to. So I want to start by kind of recapping a little bit, and then after I recap, I want to talk a little more about my fan base, I guess, that I'm having. I guess I call them a fan base. At least the people who've been sending me comments and saying a lot of nice things, and I really appreciate that a lot. I think this is one of those things where it takes a village to train your pups, and I'm really starting to feel like I have a little bit of a tribe, people that are giving me information that I really value and I appreciate. So I'm going to take some time to acknowledge those folks, tell them thank you, and also share the information. I think that's one of the goals here. We had to turn back because I had keys in my pocket and it was pretty annoying. So I didn't want you to have to hear my keys in my pocket every time I stepped. So now that we're back in our video, still trying to get this walking business with one hand. They're very used to being on both sides of me when we're walking. So it's new for them and new for me as well. But a few things. I really appreciate you guys for chiming in and commenting. The encouragement is very, very helpful. I appreciate that. I think these dogs are really beautiful dogs, and it's nice for people to see these breeds and see what they're capable of and show maybe some good strategies on how to make sure that they're safe and happy. So one thing I want to do is say thank you to one commenter who mentioned the about walking and the temperatures of the concrete. That's a huge and awesome point because here in Texas we've had some really extreme weather over the summer, and as a matter of fact, in the area that I'm at, we've had over 74 days that were over 100 degrees this year in 2023. The temperatures were extremely high, and so if it's hot outside, you've got to know that the concrete or the asphalt or street is much hotter. So when you're walking around in your shoes, you're like, oh, it's a hot day, but for them, their feet could be burning, and their poor pads can be just fried. So it's not good for them, and they'll whine, and if you don't understand why they're whining, you can cause some harm and damage to them. So I thought that was a great point, to make sure that when you're walking your dog, one thing I do is I take my hand and I touch the concrete, especially if we're out socializing, and just that little short walk from the truck to the store could be kind of painful for them. So I always touch the ground and like, ooh, that's too hot. I won't let them walk, or I'll just go really fast into the store so they can have less contact with the hot cement or asphalt. So there's a couple other things I want to talk about. One was I touched a little bit about Storm being more of a challenge when it comes to being reactive to other dogs and people as we're walking. And there was a thought to just kind of, Storm's a beautiful dog, love her, have a very strong bond with her, and maybe we should just keep her at home as a guard dog and not really worry too much about socializing her too much. But I think that's a problem. And again, I'm not a dog trainer myself. I'm just someone who loves the dogs, who wants them to be safe. So I try my best to do the right thing. But I think in the case where you have one dog that has one type of behavior, it can kind of transfer over to the other. I mentioned this the other day, where when you train one, you kind of train them both because they help each other. They learn from each other, right? So if Storm is struggling with not being able to socialize or handle dogs that are close in the vicinity or people, I think that behavior can transfer over to him. And right now, again, Rain is a 1-year Cane Corso. His behaviors we're still working those out. And he's pretty well adapted to other folks besides us. We'll take him to the stores and he'll let people pet him. Here recently, I've noticed he's been a little bit more shy about that. And I'm not really a fan of that, because it seems like we're not keeping up with his socialization. So I've got my work cut out for me with just maintaining, and that's with anybody. It's not me. A lot of people struggle with that same thing, because we get so busy, and then we just come in, we pet our dogs, we love them and feed them, go to bed, go to work, repeat, right? So it's hard to keep those things that are helpful to them on the forefront of our minds because we're so busy all the time. But I think it's worth our while to, again, take a moment, focus on what it is that are our problem areas, and then address those as best as possible. And I think your dog will appreciate it. You have a happier life. You'll be a little bit better prepared for those situations. So I think it's important in my case, to continue to socialize the baby boy, but more importantly, this girl here. So right now she's got her ears starting to go up because we see a dog in the vicinity. A neighbor's taking out her trash with the dog. So right now I'm going to turn them around because it's we're not quite ready for that. So we're going to turn around for a second, and then we're going to work on this later. And that's what I wanted to talk about too today, was given the fact that Storm is such an influencer when it comes to, and she's been great for a lot of other things. Don't get me wrong. I mean, her sensitivity to correction has been very, very helpful to me. And I think it provides a wonderful demonstration for him. So Storm and I, we go way back, don't we, Storm? Don't we, Stormy Pup? No, she's not. She's got something else on her mind. Well, we go way back. Ever since we brought her home, she has basically formed a very strong bond with me. I've been kind of her person. And so I can use that to my advantage, in the sense that since she's so bonded to me, she's very sensitive to what I tell her and when I correct her. That could be a double-edged sword, right? You can't overcorrect a dog either, because then they become fearful, and you don't want a scared and reactive, powerful dog, right? So corrections have to be done the right way. You don't want to just let loose and let all your frustration and emotions out to the point where your dog is no longer learning anything but just becoming more fearful. And with her sensitivity to my correction, that could happen. You know, if I raise my hand up to her and she cowers down, we got a problem, right? So I don't do that. I try my best to make my corrections appropriately, strictly for changing behavior and not for releasing my own personal frustration. And that's the same with kids, right? You can't just be beating your child because you're mad. That's no good for your child's well-being, development, and growth, right? So we have to treat our dogs the same way. There's a purpose while I'm correcting you for my correction, and it's not because I want to release frustration on you and make you scared of my hand or humans. It's because I want you to change your behavior. And once I've trained that behavior, once you've demonstrated that behavior, then I reward that. I give you a positive reinforcement. I think that's basic information. But again, sometimes in the middle of a spat, or if they're doing something you don't like, it's easy to forget that and let your emotions take over. And you're no different than a reactive dog at that point. You're just like going to let loose and start wailing on your dog. But again, we are letting out some of this energy this morning. They were a little bit extra. Some of the filming was a little bit disjointed because they have been a little bit out of sorts. It's amazing. Once you get a routine with a dog, man, they will remind you and they will let you know that we are off routine. It's like you're teaching them to stay on task. They teach you to stay on task as well. So they're teaching me that we can't skip days like that because you get busy, because then we get energized and we're going to take out the energy on either you, each other, or your house. So lesson learned, right guys? Lesson learned. But going back to Storm, I think we had an interaction a couple days ago where we were walking in this neighborhood and I saw someone running towards us and I recognized her. I was like, oh man, that's my old coach from CrossFit. And so I stopped her and she pulled out her earbuds, and I should have known better. I made a mistake. I made a mistake. This is, again, I'm not perfect. I'm not a dog trainer, but I realized my mistake halfway through. But I let my dogs be in between me and my friend, and her instinct to protect me kicked in. So she lunged toward her and growled for a few seconds. I corrected her on the spot to let her know I disapproved of that behavior. But what I realized is that I had made a mistake. It was kind of my fault in the sense because I knew better. Again, this is the reason why we're talking about this stuff. This is the reason why I have this channel, because you do have a little things that you can do to help protect yourself, protect your dog, and protect other people. But you got to think of them in the moment, right? So I'm excited to see my friend, and I hadn't seen her for months, and all this stuff. And so I'm focused on human relationship and forgetting what I'm supposed to be doing for my dogs. So I made the mistake of letting my dogs kind of be between us, and it kind of put them in a position to feel that they needed to protect me from this running woman. And so it resulted in her lunging. And I say the worst thing about that interaction was not so much that my dog, again, is a Rottweiler, and everybody has their own preconceived ideas of what how Rottweilers are. But greater than that, this guy watched the whole interaction. He watched the whole thing. So what have I done? First of all, I made the mistake of positioning. I knew better, but I was excited to see my friend. I trusted my dogs to do something that they've never done before, stop on a walk and talk to people that they don't know. It didn't work out so well. And again, the worst thing is he witnessed the whole thing. And so, like I said, these dogs teach each other things. And I think that for the most part, she's kind of taught him that it's okay to lunge at people that we don't know in the middle of the street. Yeah, bad, very, very bad. So that kind of set in my mind for a while how I want to handle this. Is this an opportunity for me to make changes for the better? Of course it is. There's always opportunity to make better change for your pets. But I think, come on, buddy, I'm getting off task. Yep. Come on, stay with me. There we go. So I think the conclusion that I came up with is that I need to start re-socializing her. I don't really, if I'm going to have them out and about, we're going to run into people, we're going to see other dogs, then we better learn how to behave. She's not going to be behind the fence at home 24/7, 365. She's going to be out and about. It's worth my time to try to correct that behavior. So that's what I'm going to do. I am going to start working on her, and simultaneously I'm going to continue to push his socialization skills because he needs that. Again, like I said, the last interaction that we had, I wasn't really pleased because he seemed to be withdrawing away from people and acting skittish and shy. And I'd prefer to have a socialized, happy, big monster than a big monster that I'm afraid something's going to happen to, right? They naturally protect their own property. So I'm not concerned. And that's a big point. That's a huge point. I think people think that if they socialize their dog, then the dog is no longer going to be any good from home. And I can see there's examples of dogs really, you come on their property and they're like, come rob me, come steal the jewels in the back, So I don't think, though, that these dogs will go from a situation where I taught them to socialize with me out and about to all of a sudden letting anybody come in our house at any given time. I don't think that's going to be the case. So I think they still have that protective instinct. They still want to protect what they see as their territory. So I'm not afraid of them not standing up when they need to. I'm more afraid of them standing up when they don't need to. So that's going to be the next part of our journey. Our next part of our training is I'm going to get her back to where she was when she was a younger puppy, and hopefully between helping her get back and keeping up with his training, I'll have a dream pack. So you may ask, or you might be asking yourself, well, why did you let it go in the first place? You got this YouTube station and you're talking about training and loving your dogs. Why did you let that socialization go? Well, I kind of already mentioned it. Life comes at you fast. And you can lose ground, and it's okay. You don't have to soak in and accept your fate and be like, oh, that's it. We're done for. Let life happen to you. You can always change. These dogs, they still learn. They don't have to stop learning because they're no longer puppies. They continue to learn all their life. So it's not a lost cause. But we also had an issue that I think maybe my wife and I can talk about a little bit later, because it was a huge ordeal for our family. And it's actually tied to two issues. But let me give you the short version of it just to kind of keep you from being in suspense. But when her and her brother were puppies, we took them on vacation and we had a wonderful time. I may have a few seconds of footage of that trip I could probably post while I'm talking. But they had a great
Perfect,
time,
girl.
saw turkeys, played out in the creeks, had a wonderful time. 2 weeks later, they've got parvo, okay? And they're vaccinated dogs. We definitely vaccinate our dogs. So we're perplexed why they have parvo. What do we do about it? And shorter than the story, we had to isolate them for a long time because parvo is not one of those things that is hard to get rid of. So we don't want to spread it around to other dogs. And that kind of got us to train us and put us in the habits of keeping our dogs away from other people and inside. And that kind of turned, for the worse for us in the sense that we lost socialization with them. And then it was easier to just kind of live with that, than it was to do the work to fix it. So now that we've got him, and I see that what we've done is causing a problem for this guy, I think it's worthwhile to revisit and correct. So that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to re-socialize her, and probably we'll do it in phases. And you don't have to get everything done in one day. Ooh, there's a cat in the driveway up there. Let's see if we make it past. Cool thing about cats, they can be completely still and the dogs never notice them. So you avoid that. So yeah, we don't have to do all the components all in one day. You have to be patient, and they learn better if you keep up the training, spread it out, do one little piece at a time, and then and you reinforce that, and they will love you for life. So one idea that I did have, I sort of mentioned this on my last video. Again, most people didn't watch that video because the quality was so poor, but we try to change that today. But we will probably try to get a neighbor to help us out with re-socializing them with other dogs. I've been working with them with dogs that are behind their fence, but they're, again, about 20-30 yards away. That's still important. I still think you should do that. I think I did the right thing by helping them out with that, and that's a work in progress. However, I think our biggest problem is people that are on the street with us. That's where we really, really struggle. And my last interaction with my coach, or my prior coach, was really just kind of a wake-up call for me. So if you're in that spot where I'm at, I encourage you to try to take that journey with me and help our dogs help themselves and help us protect them so that we don't have an issue. The last thing I'd like to say before I cut off, we're kind of halfway through this walk, and they're going to be tired pretty soon, which is what I want. The last thing I'll say is I've got a couple of short videos, which I think I've enjoyed making the shorts. I mean, my personality, I may sound a little dry when I talk, or maybe I don't sound dry. Maybe I sound great. I just don't like to hear myself talk. But my personality is I'm a little bit of a funny bone kind of guy. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'm a little bit of a funny bone. And so I make my videos just like, or my shorts, not just my short videos, kind of like my personality type, kind of with a little bit of a, hey, that's kind of funny if you think about it long enough. And I'm sure I have an audience for that type of humor. I'm still looking for that big audience, but if I have a few people that enjoy one of my videos, I count that as successful. I think these guys are fun to show. I think they're worth laughing at. Oops! Oh, good gracious, boy! You're walking in front of me. You know what he's trying to do? He's steering me to the direction he wants to go. So that was actually a little bit of a form of a correction. But he wants to go to this parking, this empty lot over here, or this empty house to pee. But we're not. I'm not letting him do it. So he's still trying to pull right now. If I had both my hands on the leash, I would kind of put him back on the right side and redirect him. So again, all the work that I've done so far allows me to do this, to use one hand to where he's almost doing what I'm asking him to do. But truly, if I had not put in the work and time that I have, then I wouldn't be able to handle both of these dogs with one hand and film with the other. That's something that we've built up to. And like I said, it's not perfect. We're not done. However, it's workable. It allows me to be able to show them off with the camera with one hand and hold them with the other. So we're getting to that point of the walk where also they're tired enough to kind of let me take over, right? See, look at Storm, our fearless leader. She's allowing me to be in step with her with a loose leash. So this is good, and this is the reason why we should be walking our dogs, exercising our dogs every day, so that they have that mental stimulation, they have that release of energy, then they can be calm and enjoy the rest of the day. And you can enjoy the rest of your day with them. But I'm looking forward to working with her, getting her back into a state of socialization that we can be happy with, where if we run into, and it's important to me because I've had, you saw me earlier, I had to turn around because I wasn't convinced that they could handle getting close to our neighbor's little dog while she was taking out the trash. So that affects the walk. It affects what they're capable of doing, and it makes causes anxiety for our walks. It's anxiety provoking primarily from me, because they're just doing their thing. But for me, it causes anxiety. So I end up shortening their walk. And that's not the goal here. The goal is not to make this 2 feet outside of the door, see a couple of dogs, and go home. The goal is to be able to get what we need done, despite whatever we see out and about, and then come home and then have a good life. So it's affecting our walks. But let me jump back at my little discussion about my shorts, because I do have a question for you guys. I do appreciate all your comments and opinions, and I know most people probably stopped listening to me, but I do have some people that do listen to the whole video and then do offer comments. So I do appreciate you. Thumbs up to you, big hug to you, big ups to you for doing that. So the question that I have is, I have one video, right? Now, a lot of my videos, I think they're pretty successful. I mean, I don't want to brag about my skills or anything. I mean, I do happen to have two of the most amazing breeds in the world. So, but I have I've got some videos. I think look, it gets about 2,500 to maybe 10,000 views, and for somebody who's just started a channel for over a month, I'm pretty happy, right? So, but I do have a few videos that, now some of my earlier stuff I didn't know what I was doing, and people don't have the, I'm sitting here like Google-eyeing my dogs and just love watching them. And other people are like, next video. So I realized that people want to see things move and go. They want to see things happen a little bit sooner than I do, because these are my dogs and I love them as they are. So I do have a couple videos here, the more recent ones, that they get about 2,500. I mean, I'm not like some of those other guys that are pulling thousands and thousands of views. No way, I'm not there. I may not ever be there. That's okay, because I'm having fun showing off these guys. I'm having fun making the videos because I do put some work into trying to make them entertaining. So, but I do have a few videos that just do not perform, and I've tweaked them, with my new knowledge of how YouTube works and how people's brains work. I've tweaked them. I think that I get it right, and they just don't perform. So I don't know. I thought maybe I'd reach out to you guys, and maybe you could help me with not asking you to do, to pull out the calculator and start saying, "Well, you owe me $1,600 for this advice." I'm not. I'm not asking for professional opinion. I'm just like, if you could think of one thing or two things that you just like, look, dude, you need to change this because it's sinking your video, man. I like that feedback. So the one video I'm thinking of in particular is the one that I did the most kind of like, and maybe I'm answering my own question. I did the most kind of like editing, and that's her Storm doing her little karate moves, and I did a lot of sound effects and did a lot of animation type stuff along with it. I loved it. I was like, hey, this is hilarious. I laughed my butt off in my own video. I even think the dogs looked at it and laughed. So, but my question is that why doesn't anyone else like it? I mean, and I'll show a clip. I think I can show the clip while we're walking. I mean, this is a video where, okay, clearly I'm trying to do a little bit of photo editing with my phone, by the way. I'm not using any Photoshop. So I'm sitting around in my bed right before I go to sleep, and I'm cutting and pasting and flipping and flopping, doing all this stuff, right? Adding these sounds, chopping up sound bites. And I'm like, yeah, I got it. Let me get a cool song with it. I'll take it old school, do the whole kung fu, what's the name of the song? Drawing a blank. Anyway, I'm doing this old school song, right, about kung fu. Everybody was kung fu fighting. There we go. And I'm like, this is gonna definitely get like 1,000 views. It's got to get 1,000 at least. But, hey neighbor. And so the thing just tanks, and I'm like, okay, I redo the video, and tanks again. And then I'm like, okay, wait, I got this. People are gonna like this. Okay, hold on, puppy. All right, now let's go pee. He's still trying to get me to do what he wants to do, and I don't do that. So yeah, I did the edits, I do the changes, and it still doesn't like to. So what am I doing wrong, guys? Start off with all this nunchucking, and that's a word, nunchucking, doing some Bruce Lee. So I'm from a generation where people know about Bruce Lee. So I don't know if this generation is familiar with Bruce Lee. I think they're like more of a, I don't know, because Jackie Chan is still my generation too, I guess. Well, anyways, I'm making these references, and I guess maybe it's too old school. Maybe I'm just too old. But anyway, give me some advice. Because I'm willing to remake it one more time. Maybe the title is wrong. So I talked to Ozzy's parent, Ozzy the Cane Corso. So if you guys are not familiar with the Ozzy the Cane Corso station, that it's run by my coworker, and so she's been amazing, absolutely amazing to me, amazing to information that I know about, because she kind of started the whole Cane Corso thing. She's been an owner of Cane Corsos for a while, and she's kind of the one that encouraged me to get a Cane Corso, and she also put me in contact with her breeder, and it's a guy out of California who absolutely loves the breed and puts his heart and soul into these into the breed and making sure that they're taken care of and that they are treated right. So he still stays in contact with me. I have him on my Facebook. He's a great resource. He stands behind his dog. So, but and if you want to know more about him, or if you want to know more about Ozzy the Cane Corso, this is probably not the only shout out that I'm gonna do for him and his station, or her and her station, however you want to look at it, Ozzy and Ozzy's parent. But I'll be doing more shout outs to them because I owe her and Ozzy so much for my pack and what I know about dogs, because I'm always asking her questions and she's either knows or can direct me to the information, or we hash things out at work, and it's just a wonderful collaboration between me and Ozzy the Cane Corso's parent. So, and maybe hopefully in the future. And by the way, so Ozzy's little sister is his Rain's sibling. They come from the same litter. So one day, I hope that we can get together and meet. But I think for us now, we should probably work on socialization skills so that we're ready and we don't have any problems. And we have fun and not fight. So we're almost home, and we're probably hitting 2 miles right about now. So thank you guys for watching us. Again, please leave any comments or any likes or any love that you can think of, and even some negative criticism. I'm okay. I've got thick skin. I don't mind negative criticism, and I'm willing to change or learn from any situation. So thank you guys for watching.